Okay, today we are going to be covering training for the IWTS system. We will be recording this session and it will be made available from the IWTS guide page for review at any time. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lorraine Wareham from DCO, who is going to share some information with you. Lorraine?
Thank you, Lacey. This is Lorraine Wareham, and I just wanted to cover a couple of housekeeping things. This is different from what we've done in the past regarding projects. Normally we just have one project per grantee, and now we're going to have one project for every employer that you serve. So if you will be serving multiple employers, you're going to be having multiple project plans to manage, and Jerome and Mike will cover that for you on how you add projects. Also, I wanted to cover that they're going to cover grantee or quarterly reports, and the quarterly reports that they're going to cover in the system are different from the quarterly reports that are required by DCEO that I sent an email on July 1st. The quarterly reports that are due on July 1st need to be done, the email I sent on July 1st and the quarterly reports are due on July 20th need to be submitted before July 20th or on July 20th so you can request cash, project startup cash, or any cost you may have that started before June 30th. Otherwise, those reports will be due quarterly, and your project welcome package will give you the dates that they're due. But I just wanted to mention that there's two quarterly reports, one in IWTS and the one I mentioned on DCEO where I sent the email out on July 1st. Otherwise, that's all I really have to cover, and I'll turn it over to Mike and Jerome.
Okay, this is Jerome Grimmer. I'm with the SIU Center for Workforce Development. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. Can everybody see my screen okay? Would you signify that you can see it by raising your hand? Excellent. Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started here. I've already logged in with a test account that I've set up just for this webinar. You can get to the IWTS guide by scrolling all the way down to the footer and click on Partner Resources. And if you scroll down and click on IWTS, it will take you to the IWTS guide. This is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so please feel free here to come here anytime, download the guides, review them. Like I said, they're available 24 hours a day, so whenever you want them, just come here and get them. It's going to be really helpful if you forget something from this webinar. To get to the IWTS guide, to the IWTS system, you can get to it through your dashboard, so I'll click My Dashboard, and then click on Partner Tools, and the second thing in the list is IWTS. And as you can see, I've got two projects here. I'm going to go ahead and pick the second one because it's the one I set up for this webinar. So you would enter your title here, so you would put your employer name. So I'm going to use State Farm because that's the one I like to use. You would then go ahead and fill in your description of the project, start and end date, which I've already gone ahead and filled in for you this time. You need to make sure when you enter a date in these two fields that you specify the full 4-digit date. We don't want you guys to end up accidentally having dates that are back in the 20th century. 1915, that wouldn't be good. You would determine whether it's a green initiative project, whether it has upgrades, cost for the project, how you're going to use the funds, enter your needs and benefits, and then you would click Save. I'm going to go ahead and come over to the next screen here where you would select project industries. I'm going to pick information technology because I'm an IT guy, and you can enter keywords. And to narrow it down, IT is fairly short, so I'm just going to pick a couple of these industries, and then I'll click Save Checked Items. And what that will do is that will then add those to the project. If you accidentally add one that you didn't want, you can just click Remove, and it will ask what you want. Ask you to verify it, and you say OK, and it takes it out. Pretty simple. And then you just click Next. We'll move right along to the next screen. We have a grantee in here already. You would update any of these fields that are incorrect and save. If you have additional contacts, then you can add those here. You can search for an existing person. So I'm going to add Jeannie to this project. So now you have two contacts. Search. And now you have two contacts, so Jeannie will get emails as well as Ken for this project. And then I just click Next to go on to the next screen. Here we put in our hard-to-serve groups. Again, this is a required field, so you can check as many as apply. Click Save Checked Items, and it'll add them to your project. And just like on the earlier screen, if you want to remove one that you've added incorrectly, all you have to do is click Remove. We'll click Next to go on to the next screen. Here's where you would put in the credentials that you offer for this project. Again, it's very simple. You just select as many as apply and click Save Checked Items. Now let's say I didn't want an associate's degree. I can click Remove to take it back out. Here I pick the sectors that are involved in the project. I'm going to pick IT and finance because State Farm is an insurance company. You know what? I just made a mistake that we all made. I forgot to click Save Checked Items, so make sure you check that or it doesn't save it. I'll select an occupation category. Okay, so this is for computer programmers. Save Checked Items. I hit Next. If there are any occupation upgrades, I would pick those here. And again, I would search and then the same thing. You pick the ones that apply and click Save Checked Items. Here's where you put in your employer. So I'm going to put in a city. And looky here, here's State Farm, so I'll just go ahead and click State Farm, and it's filled in the information that it has. I'll put in a phone number. I'll pick an agency type, industry, an FEIN. Indicate whether it's a work site. I'm going to say yes because this actually saves me a little bit of work later on. How much is this employer going to contribute toward the training? I'm going to say they're going to contribute $5,000 and put in where it will be provided. How many employees do I have at this location? I'll say 500. And I'll say 3 employees are going to get training. Okay, we're going to put in a meaningful description for this and click Save. And it's saved the information, so now I can click Next to go to the next screen. And this is where I would put in my courses. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a course title. Put in the provider name, provider description. Students will learn fundamentals of Microsoft Server. Okay. I save that. Okay, I'm going to now add course credentials. I'm going to say this particular course offers a certificate of completion, and I click Save Checked Items to add it. I'm going to put in my zip codes. And I will put in my 2 zip codes that I want, click Save Checked Items, and then I'm going to add sessions. Because when you register a person for a course, you have the option of registering them for a specific session. So I'm going to actually put 2 sessions in here. So I'm going to say this session starts the morning session. Session 8 a.m. to noon. Put in my instructor. Okay. Phone number for the instructor and his email address. Station address. Zip code. Save that. I'm gonna actually clone this session because I'm gonna say it's in the same location, but it's in the afternoon. So we'll give the same, yes, Lorraine, did you have something?
No.
Okay, it says you raised your hand, that's why I asked.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll go ahead and update the options here. And save the changes. So now I've got a course with a morning session and an afternoon session. So you can have employees come to either the morning session or the afternoon session. I'll click Next because I've got my courses in there. And now it's time to review my plan to see if it is complete. Here's my plan. And apparently, let's see. Scroll down through here. Oh, I do not have any at-risk indicators for the project. That's an easy fix. I'll just go back here I'll add this, type in a reason. Click update, and now I have that in there. Now we can go back down here to review plan. I shouldn't have any errors this time. Oh, I have no contacts. All right, that's an easy fix. So it's really good that it does this, because then, you know, it prevents you from submitting a plan for approval if you've left something out. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to search for a contact, and I'm going to put him in here, close my search. Now I have a contact for the employer. I'll review it one more time, and hopefully I've got everything. Okay, this project is complete and ready for submission. So what I can do now what I got to do now is I have to, geez. I'll just go down here to submit plan. All right, hit my back button to go back to the screen, and then I'll. Next. Okay, here I can submit my plan. I can type any optional notes to my DCEO contact. So submit my plan, and it's now been sent to my DCEO contact. Lorraine can and once she's reviewed it, she can either verification or she can approve it. There's one more thing I want to show you guys here. There is project history and actions. If you go here, it's going to show you all the things that have happened over the life of this project. What I can do is, what we can do here, if you have questions for your DCEO contact, we recommend that you come here, send an email, and then you can type in, I have a question. Whoa, what is it doing? I have a question about multiple employers. I can send the email to my DCEO contact, and if you look up here, it says send notice, and I can open this up and actually read what I sent, and when she replies, she can actually send an email back to you through this system, and it'll all be recorded right here. It's really cool. Also, another thing I want to show you before I leave here, is it project detail where that's at, Mike? Yep. Okay. So, we have a limitation now of one employer per project. So let's say that not only am I working with State Farm out of this grant, but I'm also going to work with Country Financial. I could add another additional project for this grant. And what it's going to do is it's essentially going to clone the project. So I can change this to be financial, update the descriptions as necessary,
and then the further dates, and Sharon. Yeah. And Sharon actually asked about whether you can change the project cost. Yes, you can go in here and change the project cost. And there's a check actually, if it exceeds the amount of the grant, it'll give you an error and not allow you to continue.
I can change anything that I need to change here, update it, click next, and I would just basically do the same thing, go back through and change anything that needed to be updated for the project. So hard to serve groups or industries, all that sort of thing can be done right here. So that's basically your ability to clone a project and just change the employer information. I'm not going to go through all of that. What I will do now is I will go over to quarterly reports, and I'm going to pick a project. You know what? I actually have to log in as me for a change, so I can actually pull up a project that has a quarterly report. Because since this project hasn't been approved, there's no quarterly report available. So let me go ahead and log in as myself. And I'll go in through my dashboard. Okay. Let me use our test project here, I think. Pick a real project. Okay, yeah, we'll pick this one. All right. So for my quarterly reports, I can go up here and from the project navigation menu, I can pick complete current quarterly report, and it's going to take me in a new tab over to the quarterly reports. So what I can do here is I put in my project status, am I on schedule, ahead of schedule, or whatever, give a project overview. And once since this is a real project, I'm not actually going to save any of this information. But once I've filled out all the required fields in red and saved it, I would click over to the workers training status and select a course. And it's going to give me a list of all the employees that are in the course. I can select some workers and update their status, and just click update workers. There's also a way, and I'll actually go back and back this out when I'm done. But if I wanted to update everybody on the screen, say to completed and certificate of completion earned, I could do that and then click alter check record status, and it will update all the records that are checked with that. Once workers have completed a course, they show up over here on the worker training outcome, where you can then say whether or not they retained employment, received a wage increase or a promotion. Once I've done that, I can go over here and review and submit. And because I didn't fill in those other things, it tells me there are errors, but it gives me a summary, and once there are no errors, I can click submit. With quarterly reports, you can submit them anytime after the end of the quarter. If your project ends in the middle of the quarter, you do not have to wait till the end of the quarter to submit, so long as you mark your project as your report as a final report. What's going to happen though, and I've seen this happen a couple times, is grantees have come in and it's the end of their project and they submit their report, but they forget to mark it final. And then the next quarter comes around and system starts bugging to complete the quarterly report, and they go, well, the project is over. I submitted my last report. What you'll need to do at that point is go in and submit a final report. And like I said, final reports let you submit it before the end of the quarter because it is the last report. The project is ended. There's no point in making you wait until the end of the quarter to do that. We do have some brand new IWTS reports, which some people are using, where you can get details on your plan summary, course and session training, employee training. You can just click on it, and I'm going to cheat and put in a project number. You won't be able to do that, but you'll only be able to see your projects. Okay, and there's some project details. There are even some optional fields that you can add to the report to get even more information. But that's quarterly reporting. I'm going to open the floor up now to questions.
Great, thank you so much, Jerome. Before we move too far forward, do you want to go ahead and cover bulk downloads, uploads of employees, I believe?
Bulk uploads of employees. Yes, we can do that. Okay. Let me get back into my test project here that I set up. Okay. So there are some situations where people are going to want to be able to bulk upload employees, and we also didn't go over the employee list, adding employees. So you can come here and you can add new employees. So if I want to add a single user, I can do this. Social Security number is required for this. I'm just going to go ahead and enter the required information here. Put in their occupation. And if I'm going to be adding multiple employees, I would check this box here and save. Apparently, Social Security numbers can't start with 9. Okay, so I've added Mr. Test to the list. If I've got bulk employees that I want to upload, there are instructions right here on how to do that, and it tells you exactly what you need to have in there. And we have some sample files that you can take a look at. So what you'll do is you'll upload your data, you'll view it. It will give you a list of any errors. You can correct any errors that you find and re-upload, because it's an all or nothing import. If there are any errors, nobody gets imported. So you would upload it, view it, it would tell you if you've got any errors. If there are no errors, then you can import your data. That is how you would bulk upload lots of employees.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Jerome. Did you have something else to add, Jerome?
Well, I should probably go over course registration. It won't be difficult since I've only got one course and one employee. I could go to course registrations then and show my employees, and I've only got one, so I will click that. Oh, I didn't pick a course session, did I? We're going to put it in the afternoon session. All right. Click the button and save checked item, and there we go. Now you see that Jonathan's test is registered for a course. Now I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thanks again, Jerome. If anyone has any additional questions, please type them in the chat pod. We did have a couple questions that have come in. I know some of them have been addressed, but we'll just touch on them again just to make sure that everyone understands. Kathleen asked, what if you don't have any of those on the list? And I believe that was early in the process. She might have been talking about the occupations, maybe. Did you get an answer that you were needing, Kathleen, on that? She was talking about the classifications like disabled.
Okay, the hard to serve groups. Mike, do you want to answer that one? Because I'm not sure how to answer that one.
I don't think it's required.
Okay, so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah,
well, what
if you
we'll
don't
do,
have any, it's
Kathleen,
required.
go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, if you don't have any of that group, it's not required. You don't have to have, select one of those.
Oh, okay, perfect. Kathleen also asked, if we have multiple sessions of the same course and only one occurs at a time, do we submit them separately?
if they're not at the same time, I would think that you would just want to go ahead and put them in and just get it out of the way, and then those sessions are available for you to put different people in. But that's just my opinion.
Okay. Mike had asked we have one project already entered into IWTS, I presume by Lorraine. To enter individual employer projects, does that first project is used as the base for our first employer project? So, Mike, with that, yes, Lorraine has entered the first project for you. As Jerome and Mike showed before, you'll go in and you'll update that, and it will be your first employer project. Then, for your other employers, you'll go ahead and you'll click to add additional projects for that grant, like they showed you before. And they're going to go there now just so we can see that.
This button right here.
Yep, add an additional project for this grant, and that will clone the information that that's already been entered. You can update it as necessary. Just make sure that with your titles that you're including the employer name. That way it's very distinguishable from your list at the beginning. And then Sharon had asked, for the individual employer plans, can the project cost be changed?
Yes. Yes, it can be changed so long as the total cost of all the projects does not exceed the grant amount. Here you see that it does, but that's because I cheated when I set this one up.
So if you try to click save, you get an error message saying that the total is greater than the grant, and they would have had to change it.
Yep.
Okay, and then Thomas asked, do employees need to be added before the project is submitted for approval?
No. No, they do not. The employers, I believe, need to be added, but not the employees.
Where is the menu?
So basically, you see the menu here. Everything above submit plan needs to be done before you submit your project. Everything below submit plan can happen after.
Okay, are there any other questions that anyone has? Okay then, if there are no other questions, just a reminder, if you have questions that come up when you're going through, Mike or Jerome, can you click on the Project Navigator menu for me real quick? And if you go all the way down to the bottom, you can go to the Project History and Actions, and here you can submit an email to, you can add notes and email it to Lorraine at any time. If you do it through this, instead of just sending her an email, it'll be tracked up above so you can see your communication ongoing. Again, thank you everyone for attending. We will be sending out an email with some additional instruction and information as we're doing it a little differently with the one employer per project. So be on the lookout for that. And if you have any questions, just contact us and let us know. I want to thank Lorraine, Mike, and Jerome. And everyone, have a wonderful day.